Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a relatively new, in this world, who knows, of classical music madness. It's hard to say, but it's comparatively new. Recording of Ives Symphonies numbers 3 and 4, featuring Michael Tilson Thomas and the San Francisco Symphony. It actually came out, I think, pre-COVID, but I sat on it. 2019 is the date, actually, but I sat on it for a while because I was enjoying it, first of all, and second of all, I wanted to let it sink in and see what I thought of it. Now, Tilson Thomas is a wonderful Ives conductor. He's already done the complete Ives symphonies with the Chicago Symphony and the Concertgebouw for Sony. So do we need more? Well, not really. And that's the way that always goes. His remakes are, well, interesting. Let's put it that way. One of the things he does is he adds selected American hymns before each symphony, hymns that Ives knew and used in his works, so you can hear them when they pop up in the various symphonies, which is actually kind of fun. It's a nice thing to do. That's quite considerate. He's done that before. That's sort of his gimmick when he plays these Ives works, but they're beautifully sung and performed by the San Francisco Symphony Chorus, which also appears, of course, in the Fourth Symphony. So if you're going to have a chorus around, you might as well do the hymns, right? Why not? They are not Ives arrangements of the hymns, by the way. They're just the hymns. Now, as to the performances, they are extremely expressive. And that's, it has its pluses and minuses. The music is extremely expressive music, of course, but it needs to be sort of rough and boisterous. And here, especially in the Fourth Symphony, Tilson Thomas has sanded over the rough edges to a really startling degree, in my view. We'll get to that in a moment. Start with the Third Symphony. Now, the Third Symphony is quite lovely. It's a gentle work, as I'm sure you know. It's in 3 movements with a quickish one in the middle, and the others they began as organ works, organ preludes to hymns, for example. It has a subtitle, The Camp Meeting, a revivalist meeting, and, it's a pretty performance, again, but it sounds to me, it's just a little bit sort of romantic and perfumed. Now, the Third can take that because it's, like I said, it's a gentle work to begin with. It's not full of insane dissonance. It doesn't go nuts like the Fourth Symphony does, but it's a sign of things to come. Because in the Fourth Symphony, oh dear. Well, let's start with the prelude. Watchmen tell us of the night, right? Every phrase is sculpted and molded and given its own tempo. It's only 3 minutes long. Traveler, yes, traveler, yes. It sounds to me precious, and it shouldn't. It should just be natural. My goodness. And then the second movement, that phantasmagoria of every tune that Ives ever knew, all played at once, and it's crazy. It lacks dynamic range. It's not wild enough. One of the things about this symphony is that every performance sounds very different from every other because you can reach into the pot and pick out a tune and emphasize certain lines or certain bits. And Tilson Thomas does that. And there are different editions of it, which also emphasize certain bits. You never know what you're going to get. It's a genuine potpourri of a piece. And here you get a lot of prominent xylophone, some nice screechy woodwinds, and you do hear the brass. You have to hear the brass, and the tunes come and go. They pop out of the roiling sea of thematic material. They do, but there's just not enough surprise, between the soft movements and then the thing erupts like crazy. And I just find it to be a little bit overworked. Maybe that's the word. The third movement, the hymn, is gorgeous. It's beautifully done. It's flowing. It has all the things I want to hear, tempo-wise at least, in the rest of the piece. The tempo, you're right. They're right all the way through. It isn't a problem of speed. It's a problem of texture and timbre and sonority. The fourth movement is also quite good. It goes at the right tempo. The big climax is suitably eruptive because there's only one. It's not like the second movement where things keep popping up and slowing down and popping up and stopping and subsiding and going crazy again. It's a big, huge, steady climax leading to the transcendental re-entry of the chorus. And that's done quite beautifully. It's absolutely lovely. So, I'm of two minds about this. One of the things about these pieces is you hear this about a lot of music. Mahler, Strauss, the Second Viennese School, works that were at one point considered incredibly difficult, so that performances of them were difficult. In other words, they embodied a sense of struggle in playing the music, which I think was intentional. It's part of what the piece is. But nowadays, as they become repertoire standards and people know them and they know how to conduct them and they know what to do with them, they become routine. And if they don't become routine, then they become easy sounding. Orchestras just toss them off as though they're just, regular, with incredible virtuosity, but with a lack of that freshness and excitement and tension that these earlier performances had. And this is one of those. It really is. It's just too nice. I'm sorry to say it. It's beautifully done, but it's just too nice. Ives would have said, take your medicine like a man, go and that was Ives. And that's his music, and you should hear that. And you don't. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.